You are listening and watching a very special podcast. I'm Catherine Donovan, and here I have another perspective view. You've heard of Chloe and Randy. Now it's Maggie and BB's turn. They got their own interesting qualities in their own perspective views. Check out this point of view. It's really interesting. Enjoy! Phenomenon Serendipity. Margaret Wolfe, Maggie. Meet the sexiest dancer in the club, Maggie Wolfe. Don't think she's just doing it for entertainment, collecting all the money, all in the world. Somehow she really doesn't really like strutting her stuff, if you know what that means. She never really wanted this life. When she was little, she was raised by a family, a dysfunctional family that always neglected her and always puts her down. Maggie hated it, the way they treated her, the way they leave her at home, the way they think that she's nothing but a stupid little girl. Maggie wasn't. She'd been trying her best to read and write. She was sick of her family treating her like crap. So she ran away when she was about 12 years old. At the age of 16, she managed to work hard as a dancer. And not the normal kind, the ones that dance at clubs, for some sort of sensual entertainment. Maggie wasn't trying to attract the wrong attention. All she was going to do was get some money and get out of this hellhole. And by hellhole, I mean she wants to get out of Arizona, place that she was at. Place has really gone to hell in these dark times, worse than New York. While walking home one night, after she couldn't get a ride at the bus because she worked late, she decided to walk back. Even though that must have been not the most safest way to get there, Maggie didn't care. She was tired and she had to get home fast. While walking home, Maggie suddenly felt like she was being followed. She could have sworn she heard footsteps in the distance and shadows. It wasn't her imagination. Pretty soon, she was tailgated from behind. The guys were trying to get to her. Well, she wasn't going to let them get to her that easily. Maggie ran. And while she ran, her heel snapped and broke. She skidded down the street. She looked back. Hands were already on her, rough hands, screaming for her life and begging for mercy, but they didn't cease. Cruel laughter could only drown out her thoughts. When it was over, and once they were gone, she was in ripped clothes. She was a mess. Tears were streaming down her face, and she walked finally back home without any problems on the way. She never danced again. Finally, while in recovery, she discovered something. She discovered a tattoo across her back. Once she could feel the blood inside of her swarming in through that mark, it became some sort of exoskeleton which she can change into different outfits. She can turn into any disguise with this exoskeleton, but only with the power of her own blood. Maggie knew that this was a little bit too much, but she knew in the human blood there must have been a lot. She managed to get blood from blood banks. trying to refill herself. She managed to track down the guys that attacked her, and she slaughtered them in a brutal way to go. Wasn't pretty, but Maggie was so satisfied. But she became even more violent when she discovered that talk show guru Sadie Towers was talking about how women should be submissive towards men. That made Maggie so angry that she got a bomb and she planted it in Sadie's home. Luckily, Zadie knew what was going on and she called the bomb squad and the police. She managed to get out of there in time. Maggie was so upset that her plans failed, but she only had one last move. She wanted to kill Zadie on the spot, but some girl with such great agility stopped her in time. This was Bella Venezia, also known as Beavy. Her last name is Jonquil. Beavy managed to convince some sense into Maggie. Thus, the two girls became good friends. When Beavy learned about what Maggie has been through, Beavy managed to help her try to be more tranquil. But Maggie had a confession. I really do hate men so much, not just because the guys attack me, but all men are perverts and jerks and they're all the same. Beavy said, well, there are some guys out there that are really nice. You gotta focus on that. Good? Good? Where am I gonna find some good people? Huh? Where am I gonna find them? She demanded. Beavy didn't know what to say. I don't know, she said, but you gotta keep positive. Yeah, like hell. Maggie did her best to maybe dress up a little bit like she did, but not too skimpy, but a little more seductive around her cleavage and her bosom. She didn't want to be too revealing. She had to be a little more careful. She was deadly, all right. Sexy and deadly, but she didn't want to attract any attention or make any seductive moves. Maggie earned many nicknames in her time. When she was a dancer, she was known as Red Hot Riding Hood. But when she was brutal and violent, she was known as Lady Lumberjack and the Big Bad She-Wolf. If anyone tried to piss her off, she would hunt them down like a lumberjack, or worse, like a wolf. However, Maggie and Beavy's lives were about to change. They were just wandering about. However, they discovered a staircase that led to a mysterious abandoned dungeon. When they entered inside, all of a sudden the door closed on them. They tried to open it, but it was locked. Now they were trapped. However, luckily, Beavy discovered a secret door, an escape route. Once opening that, they saw a dark abyss, but there was a staircase. While walking down the stairs, Maggie slipped and fell. Beavy managed to catch her, but she fell with her into the dark, dark abyss. Well, that's the end of this podcast. Don't worry, there'll be more coming your way. I'm Catherine Donovan, and I'll see you next time.